Hey, let me show you something. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? So this is Ohio in the winter. And the weather tends to go back and forth between the 20s and the 40s. So what you get is snow, but you also get like this very slick layer of ice underneath the snow whenever it gets up to the 40s and it starts to melt. It's very slippery. I'm Asia, by the way. Like, follow, subscribe. You're going to want to be my friend. So my cousin got into a car accident. He was taking a turn and he slid out and he ended up halfway into somebody's lawn. Now, where he slid out was kind of close to his job, which means it's in a very wealthy Palm neighborhood. And when he called me to tell me what was going on, one of the first things I asked him was, how far into their yard are you? And have you knocked on their door? After I saw if he was okay, I did ask if he was okay. So, like, as soon as I found out that he was physically safe, my next priority was to make sure he stayed physically safe. Because with everything already going on, the last thing that he needs is a Karen calling the police on him and making everything worse. And then it hit me that in any given situation, your first concern, your first concern in any given situation is racism. And no, he's not riding dirty. He didn't do anything wrong, but he's still a black man. And any police interaction could be his last police interaction. And that really upset me because it made me realize the constant, never ending psychological toll of taking care of white people's feelings. And that weight is generational and it's endless. Because even in 2025, palm colored people still have the power to make things worse for backhand people in any situation. Anyway, when he knocked on this woman's door, she was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to press charges." Which wouldn't have even been a thought in my mind, but it shows me that as a palm woman, she knew her power. And it made me think about how this is one of the encumbrances of blackness. This is one of the psychological effects of racism that palm people never have to deal with. This is an invisible privilege, is knowing that no matter what's going on as a palm person, you don't have to think about or plan around the possibility of some random black person making life worse for you because they can. And I'm not trying to speak for all black people here, but when we say we're unsafe, this is what we mean. And since I know there's going to be some Caucasian crusader in the comments saying, well, we don't feel safe in the hood either, let me go ahead and address that right now. I don't feel safe in the hood either. Not because it's populated by black people, because it's the fucking hood. Meaning, if I was in an economically depressed neighborhood populated by palm people, I would feel just as much concern and anxiety as being in a low income neighborhood populated by backhand people. Does that make sense? What we're not going to do is conflate class issues with race issues. This is a racial issue, full stop. Because whether the neighborhood is wealthy or economically depressed, if it's a palm neighborhood, our first concern has to be racism. Because trust and believe that wherever there are palm people, there are Karens. There are Karens in the hood. There are Karens in the wood. I do not want you, Sam I am. So when I was talking to TC about it, and I'm going to put her screen name up, so go follow her real quick. I'll wait. Y'all back? Good. Okay, so when I was talking to TC about it, she said that it's a weight of having to think about and manage palm people's emotions. And trust and believe that this is not labor we want to do. This is labor that we have to do for our safety and for the safety of our families. Because at the end of the day, Emmett Till got unalived for the same reason that Trayvon Martin did. Neither one of them committed a crime. The only crime that they committed was upsetting palm people and hurting their feelings. And this is what concerns me about Ohio's parents. This is what concerns me about Ohio's Parents' Bill of Rights and other quote unquote divisive concept laws. Because these laws are designed around protecting Palm people's feelings. And since we know that certain Palm people are more than willing to take extra legal action to protect their feelings, what are they going to do now that they have legal action on their side? And for anyone who tries to tell me these laws are not about Palm people's feelings, go read it. Go read it. Because it specifically mentions divisive concepts and how a person should not be made to feel guilty on behalf of their race or gender. So tell me what that is other than feelings. In the 1700s or 1800s in Virginia, there was this law that said if a Palm woman unalived a backhand child in the process of disciplining them, that she was not morally responsible for that unaliving. Now, this law tells me three things. One, Palm women were beating these kids to the pearly gates on a regular basis, likely because of the abuse and poor treatment that they received at the hands of their Kyle. But that's not my problem, and it shouldn't be brown kids' problem. Two, that their sense of human empathy was higher than they let on, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have felt guilty. And three, that white men had a vested interest in making sure that empathy did not fully develop. Trust and believe me when I say these laws are not about education, they're about empathy.